Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69 and welcome to the channel. Welcome to the new meta. Welcome to the new meta in World of Tanks Blitz, and we are back to the TD meta, the Tank Destroyer meta. 7.4 has arrived, and along with that arrives a load of buffs to the tank destroyers, and some buffs were needed, some buffs not. Now, one of the tanks that we're going to look at, two tanks in over the next couple of days. One of them is this tank, the Jagdtiger 8.8, and we're also going to look at the AT-15. Now, the AT-15 we're going to discuss probably tomorrow, but today the Jagdtiger 8.8. It has received the buff along with a lot of other tank destroyers. Now, this tank was already good. It was already decent. Once upon a time, it was average with the 8.8 gun, and then even though it's called a Jagdtiger 8.8, Wargaming decided to give it a 10.5 centimeter gun. That just made the tank so much better with the bigger alpha, better penetration. Wargaming have now buffed the tank destroyers. So what does that mean for this tank? Well, before, this tank was 2,700 DPM. It now has more alpha. Instead of 310, it has 350 alpha. That pushes the DPM up to 3,100, just over 3,100. So it was a decent buff. Of course, it has a better penetration as well, because not only have Wargaming buffed the DPM, the alpha, they've also buffed the penetration as well. Not by much, only by 10 millimeters, but it's still something. It's still more pen that I still don't think this tank really needed. Now, this tank is very troll. It is very troll armor wise. Not the best of armors, but again, you can get the odd bounce, the odd troll bounce, but you can't rely on those bounces. As you can see, we have bounced 740 this game, but we do go on and die. Now, this was during a live stream. I've done two of these battles during this live stream yesterday. When I had that one, or this one, sorry, this one was the first one, I thought, you know what, I am going to make my video. I am going to make my Jagdtiger video because it's worth it, because this tank is now proper insane. It's now definitely a tank I would recommend buying from the tech tree. You can buy it from the tech tree for just over 7,000 gold. Now, you can't buy this tank in particular because this is the 2015 or whatever it is model, which is different to the normal Jagdtiger 8.8. But in fact, it's exactly the same tank. So why buy the tank? I mean, why did it need the buff? Did it need the buff? To be honest, I don't think it did, but Wargaming want to bring a new meta into the game. I think they've just about had enough of the heavy meta, whereas Wargaming a few updates ago buffed all the hit points to the heavies, and that become a heavy meta. Before that, it was probably a medium meta. A lot of mediums in the game, a lot of mediums, light tanks in the game. And Wargaming have now decided, you know what, it's time for a change. It's time for a change. Let's bring the TDs into meta. Let people play TDs, which is good because I like change like this. It's not the same. It's not rolling out in a game and you are up against so many heavies because of the HP buff that they got. At least now you can roll in the mediums. The mediums are still good. You can roll in the heavies. The heavies are still good. They've still got their hit points. And now you're able to roll in the tank destroyers. Tank destroyers that you wouldn't usually roll in have now become a thing. And that's where we're going to look at the AT-15 tomorrow, because it's become a tank where I absolutely hated, and it's now become a tank where, you know what, it's a pretty decent tank. And that's like this was always been a good tank, but it was never a tank where I'd say, you know what, I'm going to go and play the Jagdtiger. It's never been that kind of tank. When you're top tier, you can get those troll bounces a lot easier. You can see again this game we did come up against the heavies. We haven't bounced a single thing yet, and we're not going to bounce a single thing, but we're still going to pump out that damage. So we're going to get one more shot in on the Emil, and then he is going to take us out. So unfortunately couldn't get quite more damage, but you know, we done our job. 4,000, just over 4,000 damage, and now we get to watch the man himself, CJ, do a little bit of a ram there on top of the tank, and the Emil is going to get taken out. So 2 good games there, and both of them games were during the live stream that I did last night. So I thought, as I've said, you know what, this deserves to be in a vid. So we do make the vid. 63,000 credits as well, so not a bad credit earner. But again, this tank you can buy in the tech tree, and well, not this one in particular. You can buy it in the tech tree, and I've always recommended to buy tanks like the Leather or the T34 as a tech tree tank. Now, this, with my giveaways coming up, once I reach 50,000 subs, I can sense a lot of people asking to be given a Jagdtiger 8.8. So I will definitely be giving a few of these away when it comes to reaching my 50k subs. Now, I do think Wargaming may have should have tested things before going live, because the buffs that they've done to some of these tanks, like this one, it is a premium tank, so the likelihood of them nerfing the tank in the future is very, very low. So for that to happen, every tank around it will have to be buffed except for this. That's the only way really Wargaming can get around it. Now, people do always say it's a premium tank, it can't be nerfed because it's a premium tank. Wargaming can do what the hell they like, whether it's a premium tank, enriched tank, collectible tank, tech tree tank, they don't care. They haven't, or they tend to not nerf premium tanks because they don't want to upset the community. People have paid real money for these tanks, so they don't like nerfing premium tanks. But it doesn't mean that they can't. They can, but they tend to go around it in other ways, and that's where I mean they tend to buff tanks around it instead of nerfing the tank directly. So it's definitely a tank that I'm going to be recommending to people to buy. Yes, it does take skill to play. It is a very hard tank to play, but if you've played any of the SU-152s, or if you played the Jagdtiger in tier 9, then you should hopefully be used to playing a tank like this. Now, this was Fizzy's first game. I think it was his first game. During the stream, he said, you know what, I'm going to get you some Jagdtiger footage. So he'd done this like in 1 or 2 games, and this is, as you see in the stream I done, the 2 battles that you've just seen, that was not back to back, but it was like in 3 games. So I had over 4k damage in two battles out of 3, and for me playing on PC, I think that was a pretty good job, because as some of you know, I'm not a very good PC player, but when I stream I always play PC because that's the way I stream. So I do want to get better playing on PC, but to do over 4k pretty much back to back in this tank, with me being on PC, goes to show that the tank, you know, the tank is pretty damn good now. Is it OP? Would I say the tank is OP? To be honest, I wouldn't say it's OP. I definitely wouldn't say it's OP, but it's very, 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 very strong. You can see Fizzy here. He's just about to take out the T43 for his 4th kill. That game, he actually blocks 1,400, so he almost blocks his entire hit points, and he ends with 4 kills and 5,400 damage. And currently, the Jagdtiger Snowstorm, the special tank, that is Hall of Fame #1. So definitely worth getting from the tech tree. Go and buy it now. Just over 7,000 gold. It is worth it, and it is a fantastic tank. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.
with